everyone, welcome back. Today, we're going deep on this book, Feminism's Silent War, How Women Control and Destroy Men.
Written by Sophie Marie Eve Reicher.
That's right, by Sophie Marie Eve Reicher. And this is one of those topics that can get really heated. So just putting it out there, our goal here is not to tell you what to think, but just kind of explore what's in the book.
Right, just to lay it all out.
Yeah, consider us your guides through this potentially controversial territory.
Absolutely. And I think what's really fascinating about this book is, for this audience, it really digs into this whole idea of covert contracts and relationships.
Yeah, she comes out swinging. Right. I mean, she's saying modern feminism, it's not about equality. Right. It's about power.
Yeah, she even uses the term gynocracy.
Oh, what?
Which is basically rule by women.
Yeah, and so how does she sort of connect that to the idea of these covert contracts?
Well, so she argues that this power imbalance, right, it's often hidden as part of these unspoken expectations and dynamics.
Covert contracts.
Yeah, and it's these covert contracts that can really leave men feeling trapped, resentful.
In relationship. And she also spends a lot of time going way back into the history of the feminist movement, right? And suggesting that she uses this phrase, rewriting history.
Yeah, downplaying men's contributions to women's rights, creating this narrative of perpetual conflict between the sexes.
So what she's saying, that basically men are entering into these agreements without fully realizing what they're getting into.
Yeah, she's saying they're kind of blinded by this idea that they're inherently privileged.
Oh, interesting.
And indebted to women, so.
And that leads to resentment, yeah.
Breakdown of trust.
Breakdown of trust, yeah.
And she argues that this actually extends beyond personal relationships. It goes into the legal system.
Oh, okay.
Social institutions.
And this is where it gets really interesting, for me at least. She talks about shit testing. I mean, this is something that I know a lot of the guys in the red pill community are familiar with.
Right.
This idea that you're constantly being tested.
Yeah, and she's arguing that this has become totally normalized in modern relationships.
And so she's connecting that directly to the feminist ideology.
Yeah, this idea that men are constantly under scrutiny.
Pressure.
Gotta prove their worth, yeah.
Like this game, you can never win, right?
Yeah, never-ending shifting rules.
Exactly. And she doesn't stop at personal relationships either, right?
Yeah.
She goes on to say that this has influenced even bigger things.
Yeah.
Like family courts.
Absolutely. She argues that feminist influence has seeped into these institutions, creating a system that is stacked against men.
Interesting. This is where she uses the term marriage plantation to describe what's happening.
Which refers to that financial burden that men face.
Right, particularly in divorce settlement.
Right. She's saying that men are seen as financial resources to be exploited.
It's a pretty
strong image.
Strong image, yeah. So far we've got this idea of covert contracts, this idea of shit testing, got marriage plantation. I mean, it's a pretty bleak picture, but
it is, but she doesn't just leave us hanging.
Okay.
She offers solutions.
All right, so how do we get out of this? What does she say?
Well, that is exactly what we're going to be talking about in the next part of this deep dive.
All right, folks, that's it for this part. We laid out some of the key ideas that Reicher brings up. We've got the covert contracts, shit testing, marriage plantation, and
how all this connects to feminist ideology.
Yeah, and how feminist ideology has shaped all of this.
Exactly.
We'll be back in just a minute to talk about what Reicher says we can do about all of this.
So, picking up where we left off, let's talk about some of the solutions that Reicher offered.
Yeah.
And, she really emphasizes this idea that men need to become aware of those covert contracts that they're entering into, that they need to be able to recognize those unspoken
The power dynamic.
Power dynamics at play in their relationship.
So basically shining a light on those hidden agreements, making them more explicit.
Exactly.
Okay.
And she really stresses the importance of communication.
Okay.
Being really clear about your expectations and boundaries from the very beginning.
From the outset.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, how do you even do that when these contracts are often, they're so subtle, they're so unspoken.
Right.
It's like trying to grab a hold of smoke,
Yeah, it's tough. And, she says pay attention to those red flags.
Red flags.
Those subtle signs of manipulation or control.
Okay.
And she uses the shit testing example again.
Oh, right.
Saying, look, you need to be able to recognize these tests for what they are and not play the game.
Refuse to play the game.
Exactly.
It's about setting boundaries, right? Like I'm not gonna jump through hoops.
You're not going to prove your worth. Yeah.
Yeah, prove my worth. Exactly. Yeah. Now, what about when it goes beyond the personal relationship? What are these systems she talks about?
Right.
Like the family courts. I mean, she paints a pretty grim picture there.
Yeah, she does. And she acknowledges that changing those systems is a really long-term battle. Yeah. But she offers some practical advice.
Like what?
Well, for instance, she really emphasizes the importance of documentation. Keeping records of conversations, agreements, any evidence that could be used in legal proceedings.
So be prepared, know your rights, have your ducks in a row.
Exactly, prepared.
Okay.
And also she talks about being proactive in seeking legal counsel.
Finding a lawyer.
Finding a lawyer, yeah, one who understands men's rights issues.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, something else I wanted to ask about, I know a lot of the guys in the red pill community are interested in the history.
Right.
Like the history of our institution. How did we get here? Does Riker delve into that at all?
She does. She talks about how a lot of our institutions, education, the legal system, have been influenced by feminist and Marxist ideology. And she suggests that these ideologies have really contributed to this shift in the power dynamic.
Away from men.
Yeah, at the expense of more traditional masculine roles and values.
So she's saying it's not just about individual relationships, it's about a bigger cultural shift.
Exactly, a broader cultural shift.
That's reshaping our society.
Right, and she thinks that understanding this historical context is really crucial for men today.
To kind of see where they fit in.
Yeah, to understand the challenges they face.
So it's not just about fighting back against individual unfairness.
Right.
It's about seeing those larger forces at play.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay, so we've got communication, we've got awareness of the covert contract, we've got the legal preparedness,
Right.
understanding the history. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
It can feel overwhelming.
Right, but she breaks it down into manageable steps. She gives practical advice and strategy.
So it's more about empowering men than making them feel defeated.
That's right. It's about empowering men to take control of their lives.
Take control, okay.
And to create change.
Create change.
And that's really the message of her book.
What's that?
That men have the power to shape their own destinies.
Oh, okay.
And build a better future for themselves and their family.
All right, so that's it for this part. We talked about some of Riker's solutions.
We talked about document. We talked about reclaiming masculinity.
The acclaimed masculinity, yeah.
And understanding the historical context.
The historical forces at play.
Exactly.
All right, so we're back for the last part of our deep dive into feminism's silent war.
Yeah.
We talked about the covert contract. We talked about the feminist influence on different institutions.
Right.
I want to zoom out a little bit.
Okay.
Talk about the big picture.
Yeah.
What kind of future is Riker ultimately hoping for?
Well, she really envisions this future where men and women, they work together, but in a more balanced and equitable way. She thinks that, the way things are now, with, as she sees it, this heavy feminist influence, it's created this climate of conflict.
Between men and women.
Yeah, a lot of resentment.
So it's not about men versus women.
Oh.
It's about getting back to some kind of partnership.
Right, a more harmonious partnership.
Okay, and she talks a lot about reclaiming masculinity.
Right.
But what does that actually look like? I mean, on a day-to-day basis, how do you balance that strength and assertiveness with being compassionate and respectful?
Well, she says it starts with self-awareness.
Okay.
Men need to understand their own values, their strengths, their weaknesses,
Yeah.
develop a strong sense of self-worth.
And that doesn't come from other people telling you you're worthy.
Exactly. It comes from within.
So it's about inner work.
Yeah.
As much as it is about pushing back against these outside forces.
So it's like building a strong foundation
Start.
of confidence and self-respect.
And then from there.
Well, she encourages men to find healthy ways to express their masculinity.
Okay, so like what kinds of things?
It could be physical activity, it could be creative pursuits.
Oh, interesting.
Even just being a strong, supportive presence in their family.
Oh, okay, so like fatherhood.
Yeah, exactly.
This talks a lot about that.
She does. She thinks it's really crucial.
For men.
Yeah, for their own personal fulfillment and also for the well-being of their children.
Right, she's saying that children need strong fathers.
Involved father, yeah.
And that society as a whole should be supporting that.
Absolutely. And she really encourages fathers to be active in their kids' lives.
Yeah, and fight for their rights as father.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's self-awareness, expressing masculinity in a healthy way, embracing fatherhood.
Right.
But what about the bigger picture? What about these institutions that she says have been so heavily influenced by feminist ideology? What needs to happen there?
Well, she's a big advocate for reform, especially in the legal system.
Okay.
She wants to create a more level playing field. For men, yeah. She argues for changes to divorce laws, custody laws,
Yeah.
greater recognition of fathers' rights,
Okay.
and a system that doesn't just assume men are guilty when it comes to things like domestic disputes.
So basically changing the laws and changing society so that it's more balanced.
Yeah, more balanced perspective.
Okay, and she talks about men's groups a lot
She does.
as the place for support, right?
Yeah, but she also thinks they can be a powerful force for change.
Oh, interesting.
Both by supporting individual men and by, advocating for these larger societal reforms.
Getting politically active.
Exactly.
All right, so there's a lot here.
There is a lot to unpack.
It's a dense book.
It is, but it's also thought-provoking.
It is.
And it's, I think, very empowering.
Yeah, and I think that's what we try to do here on the deep dive, right? To encourage people to think critically.
Absolutely.
Look at things from different angles.
To perspective.
Yeah. Maybe challenge some of your assumptions.
For sure.
And ultimately empower you to kind of take control of your own life.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, man, I really want to dive into this book myself,
It is available
you can find it
on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books.
So yeah, check it out if this is something you're interested in.
It's a fascinating read.
Yeah, and as always, this is just the beginning of the conversation.
It is.
So if you have thoughts, if you have questions, keep the conversation going, Tracy.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
We'll see you next time.